Hey, it's Marin, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Aquarius New Moon on January 24th, 2020 at 4:41 p.m. Eastern Time. So first we will go through the entire astrology of this lunation, of what is signaling for this new moon, and then we will look at the tarot deck, the law of attraction cards, oracle deck cards, all the things, so we get guidance not only through the planets, but through what cards are coming up for the collective. So getting started, this is a new moon in Aquarius, meaning that the sun and the moon are both in Aquarius, and this is like a much needed refreshing drink of cool water after an insane boxing match. It probably will be a bit jarring, honestly, because we have gone through quite an eclipse season of the past few years. Even just the lunations in the past 2019 have been, I don't want to say hellish because they weren't bad, but they were very purging. They were very much things coming to the surface that needed to be released that we could throw them away, basically. This is a very different energy. It might be a bit jarring as well because it's square Uranus, but it's definitely moving us forward. So with the sun and the moon together in Aquarius, it's inviting a new beginning based upon setting up new structure in our lives to allow us to innovate. Because Saturn rules Aquarius, it rules Capricorn and Aquarius, and Saturn is the planet of structure and boundary and limitation. In Capricorn, it's more top-down boundaries of how can I make this more condensed, more efficient, and more conservative with my energy, whereas in Aquarius, it's more bottom-up boundaries of how can we include more inclusivity into this life, into this project, into this structure to make it more supportive from the bottom up. So Saturn Aquarius is much more like the bracket at the bottom, whereas Capricorn, or Saturn in Aquarius, or Saturn ruling Aquarius, is much more bottom up, whereas Saturn in Capricorn is much more top down. I literally can't fucking talk. I'm messing everything up. So with that, creating structures to include more with this project, whatever kind of project is showing up in your life, whether it's relational or creative or personal. So the sun and moon are also co-present in Aquarius with Mercury. So it's time to bring in intellectual thoughts or brainstorming about the urgent need for growth that we feel, because likely this will be like we're not only taking a cool drink of water, but we're drenched in ice water that is asking us to get moving on to something to fill this space that we feel like we have opened up through outgrowing old habits, and we're now looking for something new. So the sun and moon are square Uranus in Taurus, which indicates an itch to change that is still a bit scared of what the world will think of us, but we might be pulled to rebel and pulled by also our anxiety about feeling different if we do rebel. So it's this back and forth of like, I really need to make this unexpected quick change, I want to rebel, but like, oh shit, like what will that actually end up looking like? And with this, I think a really important concept to remember is that as children, we were scared to have the world hate us because the world hating us meant our parents not feeding us, and therefore death, because parents equaled world, and disapproval equaled literal starvation, death. But we are no longer children, so we must feel the fear but do the fucking thing anyway, honestly. So maybe you don't have to rebel against the world. In fact, I never encourage fighting for things. I encourage living for things instead. So you don't have to rebel against the world. Maybe you just have to outgrow your old limiting beliefs, or believe that you already have outgrown them in the past Capricorn eclipse season. You might also be asked to let go of an old conception of yourself, even if you don't have to feel fully familiar with the new person without that context. Again, trust that letting go of familiar discomfort will feel better in the long run as you step into new discomfort, honestly. Or new comfort, never mind. Yeah, my bad. This is disposed by Saturn, like I said, because Saturn rules Aquarius, which is conjunct Pluto. So there is some overly dramatic somberness here, or a capacity to try and rail in energy that wants to be let out, or likely trying to overly make something dramatic that might not be that big of a deal. So things might feel heavy or like our life depends on them, but just breathing through that and understanding that no one is waiting on you to grow, that maybe can keep us us from spiritual bypassing or rushing through this part of our journey, which the journey is the point overall. It's not about some end destination, which doesn't exist, because if we feel rushed, it's because we're forgetting to remain here in the moment and allow that change, even if it's quick, to happen with presence in mindfulness here and now. Mars will also be square Venus conjunct Neptune. So Venus and Neptune will be conjunct in Pisces as Mars is in Sagittarius. So we have high ideals which feel unattainable for our perceived abilities. Trust that those are, again, an example of limiting beliefs, and the cooperative components will come together if you set that intention. And new moons are times of planting seeds, so depending on where it's hitting you in your chart, which you can check out in your forecast link below for 2020 and for January, that will be where you might want to look at what limiting beliefs you are still harboring. So use lofty goals as a signpost, not as a level to urgently play up and meet. Set new limits in the form of intentions, not parameters to keep yourself small. A new beginning is being called of you, but that doesn't mean that you're abandoning anything. It means that you are integrating into a more solid version of yourself. To improve is to change, and to perfect is to change often. And that's a really good example of a quote, something to ground you into this time of change, because change is actually more returning into the unity that actually you are. So don't rush that change. As long as you don't fight it, you don't have to worry about leaving anyone behind, because you will be too busy being supported by what actually lifts you up. So with that being said, let's look at what tarot card comes through for this lunation. I'm using the tarot, the Marseille tarot deck, the first tarot deck I was ever given, ever got. I haven't pulled it out in years, so let's see what comes up. So we have the Ace of Cups reversed, and the Ace of Cups generally deals with being full of emotional potential, of investment, of openness to feeling. With it reversed, the container for receiving is completely closed off, or like it's a sealed container with no ability for the water, the fluid of feeling to enter. So this is indicating that even though this is a very mental lunation of a new idea, that new idea can't come to fruition healthily or fully without our openness to feel what that newness will feel like, opening up to the vibration of that newness so that we can actually receive it. So now let's pull a Work Your Light Oracle deck card and see what guidance is coming through. Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? Maybe this new beginning involves a new physical reality for you in terms of setting up a physical routine or place that you are living that better supports the new version of yourself. So finally, we will pull a Law of Attraction card as some guidance for how to attract this as well. My creative workshop process works for me. If you will use your time with an intention to collect data that you may bring into your creative workshop, you will find every day to be one of fun. I think this again goes into the thought of this, I'm dropping cards everywhere, goes into the thought of this new moon as being a time where if it's time to upgrade, it's time to upgrade. Don't be afraid of leaving behind something that no longer supports you, because that's the definition of insanity, doing something over and over again with a thought that it'll change. So trust that even though right now doing something new might feel uncomfortable because of the inertia of patterning, you deserve that newness. So with that being said, I hope this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, like, subscribe, do all the things. Check out my private consultations down below because I would love to read for you. And I will see you in the next video.